welcome to Troubleshooter. Now we're going to film this one and it will be available on YouTube, as you can guess. Now we've just arrived at Willow Park, got 24 hours in the company of the delightful Ben, who we have done one before with, so we've got him on a revisit now. He's a bit of a nut, a bit of a Fruit Loop, but he's lovely. Ben the mower man, isn't it, Ben? But we've got 24 hours ahead of us now. We're going to drop into Peg 5. That's where we're going to start. Whether we stay in there or not, the lake's going to be empty, I'm told, this evening, up by the lad on the far bank. So we may or may not move. But we've stood here for about 15 minutes and I've seen 6 or 7 fish anyway, straight away, up to about 30, 40 yards out. So get the barrow down there, pop a couple of rods out each, one on a zig, one probably on a solid bag, and hopefully nick a quick one. Maybe right or definitely right. Right then, you're going on the right, and I'll tell you where I'm going to go then.
Middle.
Go in the middle. In the
Close
middle.
to the right.
I'm going to go on the Lenny. Right, so it's a bit like carnage here at the moment. We're doubling up in Peg 5, 2 rods each. Seen a few fish, like I just said. So what I want to do is get some rods in the water pronto. So I've flung out a solid bag. This one I'm going to tie up probably a 3-foot zig, black foam, and flick it the 40, 50 yards we've been seeing them fish. So it is a bit calamity Jane, but I've got to get on with it. Go. Yeah, you will be, mate. Knocker. Right, we've got 2 in. Ben, in line with that empty swim, see that big flat patch? That was quite a good fish. That might be your first 20 pounder. Wouldn't that be great? Got your little zig tied up ready. Get on it. You know, take your time. It gets dark at 8 o'clock, and it's now 11:15. We love it. The pressure is immense, mate. Especially when you get a bite. That's quite a good fish, that one. We're going to give this a good hard punch because where that fish just showed. Keep your eye on the lead. As the lead's going to hit the surface, stop it, throw the zig forward, just follow it down, okay? So at the end, not the swim with the lads in the other one. Right, whenever you want. A fair good punch there, buddy. Right, and stop. That's it. Now let it go down to the back. Go down with the rod. Brilliant, brilliant. Now we're going to tighten that up, and that is roughly where that fish was, okay? Yeah, bloody things are showing everywhere. Right out in that middle though, mate. I'll throw that zig long. Right, we're having the zig in. A lot showing just on the back of that wind. I've got this a bit long. Let's have a look. No. No, I'm just going to sling that now where I'm seeing them, which actually makes every little bit of sense, doesn't it? So So if one of them with pop-ups on, I sit amongst them. Come on. Right at that willow though, buddy. You're all right behind. There you go. There you go, mate. Should, in theory, look on the top here to the right, should in theory be a bite. Just down the bank from where Ben is, there's been a shoulder fish out to the right here all the time. We've got 2 zigs on them and a pellet bag with a yellow popper. Ordinarily on here, all 6 of these would have gone by now. There's so many fish about, and again, but there you go. I don't do patience, but it looks like we're going to have to on this trip. Just keep punching away at it, and hopefully something will happen. Right, see, that was a big fish out in the middle. Right, we've had 2 hours now, yeah, of nothing. Loads of shows. So we're going to flick around, find something a little bit firmer. Yes, we're going to do this later for tonight, won't we? We'll find an area now, something nice, a bit firm and a bit flat, where it lands nice. There you go. All right. And we're going to put a bit of bait out because there's so many fish in the area that I'm just blown away that we haven't had a result. Maybe it just needs a little bit of food, mate. I'm going to have another quick chuck with that. I've clipped it on that, so we'll have a little. It's just a nice. There is a gravelly, bumpy bit about 6 or 7 wraps out, but most of them are showing about where I've got this, which I'm going to guess is probably about, yay, about 12, maybe 13. Yeah, it's nice and firm. It's not too deep there. Yeah, that's it. Right in, like, yeah, it's about the range, isn't it, mate? So. We've got that clip now. I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to give it half hour more waiting on these because they are still showing here before we drop a dozen spoms out there. Might just need that. Well, he's actually spomming over there. So if we keep our eye on him, that one there, keep our eye on him. If he has a bite off the spommed area, we'll get straight on it. So, which is a good thing because you're using other anglers to read the situation as well, which he doesn't know that.
No, of course not.
But we do. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on him.
Scare him our way.
Well, not just that. If they do drop on his baited areas almost straight away, then it's working, isn't it? So we'll do the same. Yeah. We're going to do it anyway, but we might just ping it for another half hour, an hour. That was a good fish showed out there then, wasn't it? Just beyond us. Yeah. So we'll hang on. We'll hold off for half hour more, mate. But I'm going to wrap it, count it, and see what we got. Got to be 6 inches shorter because this is 12'6", right? Not that it matters, as long as you wrap it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 and a half. Good enough, mate. Right. What's the right hand one sorted? Just. Right, Ben.
Ian.
We have a bucket. 2 hours now. We've flitted around with zigs and bags. Yep.
Yeah.
And how much have we caught?
I can't believe I've had 5.
You've had nothing. Right, so let's got that. Let's be being serious now. We've had a let around. I found a little firm area at 14 and a half wraps. So I think maybe if we stick a bit of food out there, it might just draw them down because they're showing literally all over us.
Yeah,
And we've got zig, solid bags, mesh bags. Nothing is going. So my little mix is going to be half a jar of the hemp. Hey, yep.
All of these things good this time of year?
Yeah, they are, mate. Of course they are. Of course, any time of year. Yeah, no,
you know.
this will do it. We've got nice, they don't refuse hemp, right? Something a bit bright. We'll have a whole tin of corn in there.
Nice.
Put them aside in case we want to do it again later. Now, we're going to have quite a lot. This stuff, don't leave home without it. Now, whether or not it works on this trip is irrelevant. Ordinarily, this stuff here is, we'll stick a load of that in there, mate.
Stink.
It does smell, but it's so good, mate. And we'll have a little bit of the old complex tea, which is my favourite at the moment. And that's all going to get soaked up by what we've got here, mate. Okay, so that's the spare. If this works and we need to top it all up,
We've got my tin.
we've got your tiny little tin that we haven't even seen yet. Now that's that in there. Here we go. Without, it's very sloppy. Get that off there. Now this is a spicy shrimp and prawn. Again, it's a smelly one.
Okay.
So a good lash in that, and which I've got away with putting as much fluid in because this will just soak up the fluid.
What is it that you? Is that boilies?
This is crumbed up, yeah. This was a load of 15mm spicy shrimp and prawn, crumbed up. And that, by the time we leave that 20 minutes and then start plopping it in the swim, we'll have soaked up most of that fluid because nothing else in there is soaking it up. The corn ain't soaking it up. The hemp definitely isn't soaking it up. The crumb will do it, mate. And that should give a nice big cloud, loads of visual aspect with a tin of corn and the little white flecks of hemp on the lake bed, and that will do that, mate. But as I say, if that was not a lot there, there's probably a dozen spoms there.
Okay.
But that's a lot more than what we've done so far with just bags, so it's worth a shot. And as I say, if it works, I'm going to put all this out, a couple of rods on top of it because nothing else is working. If this works, we've got all that for later if we need to top it up. You can do, yeah. I mean, I might even put a shallow zig out there while I'm spomming anyway, because if they're investigating it and still don't want to drop till later, you might just nick one as it's going down through the water with a little zig. And that is our plan. We've wrapped the spom, 14 and a half. I've already got a rod out there in mind for a little yellow thing in preparation for this.
Yeah.
And that, I'm not going to ask you to smell that because you probably can from where you are anyway.
I don't trust you.
I would love to do that, but I'd get in trouble, so I can't, mate. So let's get some of that in the lake. And maybe it will turn the tables around for us.
Nice, sounds good.
From the rain, it's coming. We're going to get rain on in a minute. Oh, that in the middle there, mate. Yeah. Malcolm in the middle. Ooh, a bit breezy there, isn't it? Right, Ben, while we haven't cooked anything yet, we're having a relaxing period. Yeah, I think so, mate. There's only been one out, isn't it? The fellow who was over there. To be fair, it's the only bite I've seen all day, even though we've had probably 100 shows right over the top of us. Yeah, mate, frustrating. Well, we'll nick the time now before tea time and have a look at rigs. Oh my God. I've been through your rig board.
No.
And the best thing to do with that is that, well, I picked a few out anyway that we can pinpoint where I think you're going wrong to start with, yeah? We'll start and work that way. The hook is too small on this one for what you've tied it up a Ronnie rig. Okay. Nothing wrong with the hook. If that was a small hair rig with a bit of corn or a pellet or just a very small hook bait, that'd be fine. I mean, that is tiny, isn't it? But you've got no gape there at all. On a Ronnie, you've got a massive gape. Everything you've got here, you've overcooked for the size of the hook you're using. So that one is definitely all down to the The boom one, that's perfect. That is the best boom I've ever seen in my life. Right, so we'll leave that one there.
Okay.
Right, now we'll get to this one. What you've got on the shank there looks a bit like a jelly baby that you've impaled up your hook. That's a size 6. Nothing wrong with the style of hook, other than it could do with being a bit sharper. Look,
Right, yeah.
there's nothing there, mate, at all. But in all, that's probably because it's been sitting on here and been in and out of the lake a few times. Other than that, the swivel on the hook shank is too big. The swivel there is too big. I would lose the ring. I don't want anything cluttering up. You know, we'll get to mine in a minute, but I don't want anything cluttering up. What doesn't have to, if it serves no purpose, why is it even there? You know, and this one, this is better than that one in the respect you've used red shrink tubing. Okay, rather than a jelly baby with the arms cut off and all that stuff. But all joking aside, if you had that shrink tubing on there, you're talking about getting nearer the end goal as to what I would think is acceptable. But if you pick up all your hooks for a Ronnie are too small in my opinion. We're here with me, so others out there might disagree with that and go for a size 6. I think a size 4 is the best size hook for a Ronnie. I also, you know, you've got a tiny little ring swivel there that runs up and down with your bait on, as opposed to your big swivel. You've taken that off like a taupe rig or something that they use off Eastbourne. And everything on my one is balanced, mate. It's a massive hook, but it spins everywhere, Ben. It looks so much neater than that.
Yeah.
There's so much more hooking ability there. You've closed the gate there with that jelly baby.
That's something I didn't.
We've got a tiny bit of shrink tube, and it's just as the only bits are on there are the bits that are absolutely necessary, mate.
Okay.
And look how aggressive that sits.
I'm like on the right track, but
excuse me. You are, mate. You've just got, you know, swivel size, jelly baby gone. Eat them things, and you use your shrink tubing. Even your shrink tubing there is a little bit long, but then you've got a massive swivel there. If you cut that, look at you. All right. Don't bang on about it. But the end result is, mate, you're on the right track with the design of rig you're using.
Okay, cool.
You've just overcluttered it, mate. It's all heavy duty stuff. You don't, like I said a minute ago, if it doesn't serve a purpose, don't have it on there. That to me would be looped.
Different, but
well,
it's not really worked.
My one would be looped to fluorocarbon like that. A little tungsten bead pushed over the knot. It looks massively tidy and sits like so. So there you go. Down the tackle shop tomorrow before we leave. You can pick all this stuff up off James, and he will thank me on the way out. No more jelly babies.
No more jelly babies, all right.
So you can have them. Don't want them. No good to me.
So having gone through all of my rig board with Ian, I've tied something up now, which I feel like is going to be a lot more effective. And he's made me understand where I was kind of going wrong. It was a bit sort of clumpy, a bit cumbersome, and now it's a lot more refined. So I had all the components, but I just hadn't quite put them in the right order or put them into play in the right way. So what I've got now is, I think, a lot more effective. We've got the rig here now, the new improved rig. So starting at the top, so Ian's mentioned about using a size 4 hook, and that's his preference. I only had a size 6, but now with all the refinements, it still is going to now, you know, be a lot more effective than the rig that I was using before. So as you can see now, the gummy's gone, and that's been replaced with a short section of shrink tube. For me, it was understanding why that was no good. We've got a micro ring swivel, which is a lot more refined than one I was using, and a quick change swivel on there. So another change would be that rather than an overhand loop knot, it's now a grinner knot tied directly onto the ring swivel. It's again, just something I've taken away from the chat with Ian, is just keep everything refined and just do away with any unnecessary clutter.
I've never been here before and seen so many fish cast so many times for nothing to happen. Are you impressed?
I feel like it might be me.
I think you're right. I think you should leave me alone. In all seriousness, there's something in their world that isn't quite balancing out, because I fished here a lot. This is a tremendous fishery, and everything we've done, literally everything we've done, should have bought a bite or two.
Okay.
It is usually so good here, which is why we've come here with you for your first £20 hopefully, like, you know. But I've literally have not cast and moved rods about so much for no result. What would you, is there anything you would have done different? And don't say go home or go somewhere else. That's a bit obvious.
I think so, because, you know, we've been out in front of it, so,
We still are in front of us.
Yeah,
It's incredible amounts of carp.
So I think we're taking.
Well, we ain't going yet. We've got another 3 or 4 hours or so. We won't give up.
No.
We'll just keep, whenever we see one, we'll pop a rod on it.
Yeah.
Be it a zig, a solid bag, or just a single or a mesh, but whatever. We've tried everything. The only thing we could have done, to be fair, was bought a few maggots, but I'm glad we didn't, because it would be nice to actually get them on what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, maggots is an answer, but it isn't always the answer, and I didn't want to spend 24 quid on a gallon of maggot. So, which makes me a bit like Ebenezer Scrooge. No, I didn't want your £20 of that much, nor did you by the sound of it, because you could have bought a gallon. But no, I'm glad we didn't, to be fair, because they can be sort of ultra reliant, really. But we'll keep punching away at it. I said we've got 3 or 4 hours yet, and the main thing is we haven't gone home yet, and the fat bloke hasn't sung yet.
Hasn't sung.
Right, there's been so many fish showing to my left now, really in front of this peg, but there's no one in it. So, little bag is going on their noses. Let's see what happens. Boom. I'd literally, because we've been fishing the margin this morning, flicking a solid bag and a zig in the margin, I'd literally just said to Ben and Matt, there's nothing, they've stopped showing, there's nothing to go on. I don't want to stop working the swim, and there you go, mid-sentence, Ben, wasn't it? There he is, mate. I'll look at you in a second. I'm a mad fish, mate, isn't it? First opportunity, he's close, though, we're having him. Full of it, mate. Just 9 months. 9 to 10 months of the year. Come on, let's have you in now. He's a completely angry son of a gun. Right. We got him. There you go, at long last, he will do. Frustrating trip, but it's come good in the end. Let's go. Here's a 40. Nailed, look at that. Talk about come good. We haven't quite gone yet, so I'm not going to call it the end. But I don't believe I remember a trip working 6 rods as hard as we have to eventually get one bite, you know. Solid bag it came to in the end. A little white hit and run wafter in a solid bag. We've had zigs, singles, pellet bags, you name it, on fish the whole time we've been here. Yeah? And we've nicked a little male critter. So there you go. At least we've got one. We've got another hour or so, so maybe we'll get another one. Stick him back. Right, mate, as soon as we've had this tea, I am going to wrap it up. Not the tea, because that's too hot. I think we've done what we can do, mate. There's been a couple caught on the other side in the last hour or so, hasn't there? But I think we've been treated very harshly by Willow Park, because how many more times do we need to say it? These rods, we've worn them out. I need new rods. We've cast so many times, but for one carp, but one carp is better than none carp, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Would have been nice. Yeah. Would have been nice if you'd nicked a £20 that you so wish for.
I know. I'll come back.
Well, we've got probably,
Not with you.
because I've made such delicious hot tea, we've probably got 15 or 20 minutes before we tidy all your mess up that's everywhere, right. And then hit the trucks, mate, and pick my dogs up. But thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. It's been awesome. We've just been very unlucky, mate. Thanks for taking you out. This is daily release, is it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. The mower man. The mower man. You should have worn an advertising T-shirt.
Well, I do have a board. I could go and get that.
You could do, and then we'd charge you. I didn't mention the advertisement fee until you turn up in a T-shirt. Oh, well, mate. Listen, I'm going to guess and hope this is the venue you'd quite happily return to once it's fishing definitely. Really well, because it is incredible, mate.
I've got a pal that wants to come down here. So.
You got a pal? Stop it. Never.
You.
Having spent... Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
I'll come back with you for 24 hours, mate. I'll come back.
I think you're bad luck, so I might come on my own.
Well, I caught a fish. I don't know about you. Who's the bad? Who's the bad luck and who ain't, Ben? Mate, listen, get it here. We've had a good time.
Cheers, mate.
And we might catch you a fish in the next 10 minutes. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Mindless
I
chat.
paid £400 for 4 of mine about 6 months ago, mate, and you paid 800 for them things with the treads like that.
500.
500. 8 years ago, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I'm getting your numbers mixed up.
It's an age thing, mate. I'm only 28. How young are you now? 35. You've had a hard life, boy. I thought you were popping.
Sleeping next to you.
I was going to say, I thought we were going to get invited to your 50th next year. Oh. I have. I think we've
provide my own tea bag.
No, I didn't make you. You just don't like Yorkshire tea bags, which means you have absolutely no taste whatsoever in tea. That's got to go in there yet, and the guesty cup. That bird has dived in that same spot since we got here yesterday morning, hasn't it? Someone must have put a hell of a lot of bait down there at some stage.
Or is it weed?
What, drugs? Why would they put drugs down there?
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, man, I don't know what you mean, bro. I'll tell you about my bad finger. Look at it, it's getting bigger by the minute, man. I reckon you bit that. You bit that.
Spider bite?
Could be a spider bite. It's definitely a bite of some description, because. Well, why haven't the others swelled it up then? How do you know? You're not a doctor, you're not a vet.
Not a vet.
How do you know? You just said plunge your hand into a boiling bloody kettle. It's going to help me out immensely, isn't it? Then you're going to have to drive me home. Because you're only a skinny little urchin, aren't you? Well, actually, yesterday you were saying how fat you became, but you are like a stick insect.
Legs, yes. Stomach, no.
Oh dear. Well, Start doing sit-ups then, boy. You get a six-pack like me. You know what I mean?
It's all Scotch egg.
It's just Scotch egg that done it, isn't it? It's made you put weight on.
Yeah, it has.
But there is a word in our vocabulary that says no. There's one that goes directly behind it. It says
polite.
no, thank you. What about being polite, mate? I'd have had 2 eggs then, you'd have had none. Or actually, I'd have given your health. I don't worry about mine, mate. I'd have given your Scotch egg to Matt because he's damn near famished.
He's already had a quarter of a cookie that I brought him yesterday.
And he's had an entire quickie.
I know. Didn't
Yeah,
even
but
offer.
Cheese and bacon
Looking
quickie.
behind you, but there's actually something to look at.
Oh, loads of. They've come back again.